It's Wednesday, January 28th, and the time now is 9 p.m. Welcome into the Daily Rewind, where we take you through the top stories and headlines from today.
A group of state prosecutors form a coalition to assist with bringing charges to federal law enforcement officers who violate state laws.
It is made up of 9 prosecutors, including lawyers from Portsmouth and Norfolk. 10 on your side's Michael Rinker joins us live in Norfolk to explain more about this coalition and the powers it may have to prosecute federal agents. Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Katie and Kiana. The coalition has been tabbed Fight Against Federal Overreach. Last night, Norfolk Commonwealth Attorney Rahim Fadahi discussed the intent and the plans of this coalition during a vigil for 2 Americans who were killed in Minneapolis by ICE agents. According to the New York Times, also included on the coalition is Portsmouth Commonwealth Attorney Stephanie Morales, along with attorneys from Northern Virginia, San Francisco, Minneapolis, as well as Philadelphia, and it's really become a major issue here recently after 2 Americans, including ODU grad Renee Good and Alex Preddy, were killed by federal agents in Minneapolis. State officials were blocked from seeing evidence in the investigation into Renee Good's death. Typically, the FBI and the DOJ handle deadly force cases that involve federal agents, but states also have the power to investigate cases that do include murder. And there are obstacles facing this coalition. Federal agents have some extended protections in the Constitution, but that's if the actions they take are necessary and proper. And Rahim Fadahi spoke on this coalition last night, saying he's not going to allow federal agents to come to Hampton Road cities.
We will find the wrongdoing in our communities, and if there are criminal acts being perpetrated by federal actors, we will prosecute them.
Now, one of the attorneys involved in this coalition has created a web portal that allows bystanders to send in evidence that could be cell phone video if there is an instance involving federal agents. Like I mentioned, sometimes in the Renee Good case, state agencies were blocked from seeing that evidence. The coalition says this is their way of seeing all angles of an instance involving federal agents. And you can read more about the coalition over on wavy.com. Live in Norfolk, Michael Rinker, 10 on your side.
Thank you, Michael. Developing news this morning, a student is in big trouble after they were found with a gun at a middle school in Portsmouth. It happened yesterday afternoon at Churchland Middle School. That student was taken into custody and is now facing criminal charges. A note was sent to parents describing what happened. It also asks parents to talk with their kids about having weapons on campus.
In Virginia Beach, firefighters are trying to figure out what sparked a fire that severely hurt a woman, displaced 3 other people, and killed 3 dogs. This happened around 4:30 yesterday afternoon on Ferry Point Road. You can see the fire there. When crews got to the house, it was already engulfed. Officials say they knocked down the fire within 30 minutes. Firefighters had to work fast to rescue the woman from the house.
The occupant that was inside the residence was not able to get out, and there were also other occupants. We had multiple calls coming in on it. But the dispatcher did have her on the phone and was talking to her when we were on scene searching for her. She was taken out through a front window and turned over to EMS and since been transported to a hospital.
1 dog was also rescued from the fire and turned over to animal control. The cause of that fire is under investigation. Tensions remain high in Minnesota as protesters continue calling for the arrest of the federal officers involved in the deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Good.
Both were shot and killed by federal agents during the president's crackdown on illegal immigration. There are also calls for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to step down after she called 37-year-old Alex Preddy a domestic terrorist. His family describes him as an ICU nurse for our nation's veterans. Democrats believe Noem is attempting to mislead the American people. President Trump is now encouraging everyone to wait until the facts are revealed.
A very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it myself.
In the event that she is not terminated, we are prepared to initiate impeachment proceedings.
This is likely to fuel another battle as lawmakers in Washington prepare to vote on the latest funding package. It's worth $1.2 trillion and would fund several agencies.
Until we start rectifying the situation, I cannot vote for funding an organization that's going to continue killing Americans.
They did this before. They shut down the government because they wanted health care for illegal immigrants, and now they want to shut down the government because they don't want us to deport illegal immigrants.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wants to pass separate bills to fund nearly everything except for the Department of Homeland Security. Republicans say they want to vote on just one funding bill that has already passed in the House.
With the ongoing cold spell that seems to be staying in Hampton roads, Virginia Beach Emergency Medical Services wants everyone to stay safe.
Yeah, they are issuing a warning for people about ice, especially on ponds. Telling your side's Kagan Hughes joins us live from the control room with more information. Kagan.
Hey, good morning, Katie. Kiana. With the cold temperatures, there will also be an increase in the amount of freezing, and small bodies of water can freeze over and present dangerous situations. Virginia Beach EMS says ice-covered waters can be inviting for young children, which can be risky because normal ice thickness in our area will not support their weight. Common ice-related drowning incidents are children playing on ice, children or adults slipping on ice-covered waters and falling in, and adults or children attempting to rescue someone or a pet that fell through ice. Now, Virginia Beach EMS says if you see someone fall through ice, call 911 immediately. Don't go into the ice yourself, and if you can, try to reach the victim with a rope, roll blanket, or pole until rescue crews arrive. Live in the control room, Kagan Hughes, 10 on your side.
Thank you so much, Kagan. And with the recent weather, firefighters battle the elements as well as the flames. Firefighters in Suffolk have a rehab bus. Now, this is a bus that goes out to fires alongside the fire trucks and firefighters. It's a place where firefighters can warm up and be checked out by paramedics. Officials say they have to make sure that they have short rotations and they change out the crews frequently.
So during these extreme weather conditions like we're faced with this week in Hampton roads, crews would have 2 additional sets of gloves that they may need at an incident, as well as 2 sets of flash hoods that they'll carry with them. And when they get back to the station, they have a whole full set of second turnout gear that they will get into dry, warm, and ready to go to respond for the next incident.
That is a nice way to take care of our firefighters. Now, we do know that firefighters are often the first to respond to water main breaks or a water leak, and you can help prevent this by dripping your faucets and opening your cabinets under your sink.
A new bill in Virginia's legislature could change how the Commonwealth handles the surge in data centers. The bill passed after a tie vote. It focuses on oversight of these facilities, including the light, water, and noise pollution they can bring to the area. It calls for the Department of Environmental Quality to develop specific standards for data centers by July 1st of 2027. Now, Virginia has about 35% of all of the data centers in the world, a vast majority of them located in Northern Virginia. We are following breaking news this morning. Amazon announced it is cutting 16,000 jobs. These cuts are hot on the heels of another layoff back in October that removed 14,000 workers. Amazon's senior vice president says the cuts would strengthen Amazon by reducing layers, increasing ownership, and removing bureaucracy. This is the biggest round of cuts for the tech company since 2023.
Norfolk police ended last year with a record-breaking reduction in crime.
This comes from the end-of-year public safety review Police Chief Mark Talbot gave to the City Council last night. He says there were 26 homicides. That's a 30% decrease from 2025 and the lowest reported in decades. The city also had 56 non-fatal shootings, which is a 24% reduction from 2024. Overall, violent crime has also decreased by 11%.
Chief Talbot says there was a 20% increase in applications to the department last year. However, they've lost officers to federal job opportunities. Chief Talbot wants to offer more benefits to keep officers with the department.
We compete by offering something other agencies can't offer. We are a full-service police department. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. There's a lot to feel good about, and the thing that we market is the great policing that we do in the city and the great police officers that do it.
You can find more and learn more about this story over on wavy.com.
A judge in Tazewell put potential redistricting on hold in Virginia. Judge Jack Hurley Jr. ruled state Democrats did not have the authority to consider the proposed constitutional amendment during a special session last October. He also found the amendment was not passed as required because early voting was already underway. Judge Hurley said it did not comply with Virginia code requirements for proper public notice.
We as Virginians voted overwhelmingly by 2/3 just a few years ago to end gerrymandering and to create our nonpartisan redistricting commission. Democrats are now trying to undo that.
In a statement, Democratic leadership in the General Assembly responded to the ruling, saying in part, quote, "Nothing that happened today will dissuade us from continuing to move forward and put this matter directly to the voters. We will be appealing this ruling immediately and we expect to prevail. This was court shopping, plain and simple," end quote. You can read more on wavy.com. Tensions remain high in Minnesota as protesters continue calling for the arrest of the federal officers involved in the deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Good.
Both were shot and killed by federal agents during President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. And there are also calls for Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to step down after she called 37-year-old Alex Preddy a domestic terrorist. His family says he was an ICU nurse for our nation's veterans. Democrats believe Noem is attempting to mislead the American people. President Trump is encouraging everyone to wait until the facts are revealed.
A very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it myself.
In the event that she is not terminated, we are prepared to initiate impeachment proceedings.
This is likely to fuel another battle as lawmakers in Washington prepare to vote on the latest funding package. It is worth $1.2 trillion and would fund several agencies.
Until we start rectifying the situation, I cannot vote for funding an organization that's going to continue killing Americans.
They did this before. They shut down the government because they wanted health care for illegal immigrants, and now they want to shut down the government because they don't want us to deport illegal immigrants.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wants to pass separate bills to fund nearly everything except for the Department of Homeland Security. Republicans say they want to vote on just one funding bill that has already passed in the House. The deadline to pass the funding bill is on Friday.
Staying in Minnesota, Congresswoman Omar was sprayed with an unknown substance during a town hall meeting in Minneapolis last night. She was addressing the crowd, speaking out against ICE and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. That is when a man sprayed her with what appeared to be a clear substance. She was urged to seek medical assistance, but defiantly proclaimed she would continue her speech. The attacker was tackled to the ground and then arrested on suspicion of third-degree assault. At 7:19, we have a follow-up to the Midair collision that happened near Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport last year. Last January, an American Airlines jet collided with an Army helicopter, claiming the lives of 67 people. Yesterday, the National Transportation Safety Board announced several factors that contributed to the crash. It included restricted views for the pilots, a crowded airspace, and little warning from air traffic control.
So we go into tonight and tomorrow, maybe a flurry. Otherwise, we're dry for the most part. Thursday's partly cloudy. We'll have a northwest breeze still, highs in the 30s still. More cold air. Anything going into Friday? Well, Friday, the moisture is going to start to increase just a little bit. And so, first half of the day, I think we're just seeing clouds increase. Towards the late afternoon, evening, we might develop a couple of flurries or a couple of stray snow showers coming over from the west. I don't expect much with that, though. So Friday is still quiet, but then things pick up from there. So let's use the GFS to take us through that time frame. And so here it is, seeing maybe just a little something out there. Friday, that's the GFS. And then Saturday morning, it doesn't have too much, but it's got an area of pressure forming down to our southeast to Hatteras at the time. And then it has that low just kind of stretched out a little bit offshore. So it pushes that moisture on the land. We hit that cold air. So Saturday afternoon, we have a lot of snow. There's that rain snow line right near the state line, and then there's rain down across the Outer Banks for a time, and then it changes over to snow. Now, this is the most likely time for this to happen, Saturday night, Sunday morning for snow to form, and then Sunday afternoon it should taper off. It still lingers a little bit, maybe ending as a mix, but I doubt it. So this is the European model. It's somewhat similar now. They're starting to agree a little bit. Maybe a little something in there Friday. We go into Saturday morning. It does have some more activity Saturday morning, but it's kind of got more of this on and off snow showers. Maybe a little drier air sneaking in. There's that mix and rain down to the southeast. This is Saturday late going into Saturday evening. And then Sunday morning it still has some snow, but it quickly gets it out of here. So, and it has the low going a little bit more to the east than northeast. So that's a difference between the European and the GFS that would change this, the end of the snow, how soon it would end. So here's some of the general totals. And I don't know if you can see it in here. It's kind of this more of the purplish area kind of sneaking in. So I think it's got more of that 10 to 12 than over a foot. But it does have areas a foot or more out across the region. Don't panic though. Take a look at this. This is the European model. It's a little more realistic. It's got 6 to 8 inches for our region and then surrounded by a big swath of 3 to 6. This might be where we're going. It's still early, but I think the trend is kind of going this way, maybe a little more than the Euro and a little bit less than the GFS. But either way, that's significant snow for the weekend. So we're still in here. We're still watching the trends, but we're starting to go into this. Later today and tomorrow, we'll start putting some more specific amounts out there, but we're still just not there yet. Anyway, today, 33 Virginia Beach in Norfolk, 35 Chesapeake, 36 Elizabeth City and Killable Hills. We're partly sunny. Low 30s in Melfa, Hampton, 30 in Gloucester, 33 in Newport News. And then tonight, lows will be in the 20s with teens inland. And more of the same pretty much. Wind chills might be in the single digits. Tomorrow and Friday, we got more cold air, maybe a couple of flurries, especially Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday, at least some snow showers. Will they be scattered? Will they start up a little sooner or later? That's still in question. But I think we got some, at least a confidence, more confidence now that there's going to be some accumulating snow for the weekend.
No one was hurt after a dump truck flipped over on the Outer Banks. Take a look at these pictures from police in Kitty Hawk. The accident happened this morning on the bypass heading towards the northern turn onto Route 12 towards Southern Shores. You can see an oversized tow truck had to respond to get that dump truck back up on its wheels. The cause of the crash right now is under investigation. Breaking news from Norfolk. Police have arrested a man for his role in a stabbing. Detectives charged 55-year-old Joseph Bridges Jr. They say a woman was stabbed on East Princess Anne Road near Park Avenue early yesterday morning. She went to the hospital for a non-life-threatening injury, but police do say this is a domestic situation and Bridges is being held in the city jail. A police chase and shooting through 3 cities that caused traffic headaches for thousands of drivers this morning. Wavy News 10 Today reporter Michael Rinker was live on another story when dozens of first responders started showing up to the scene. That chase ended right there at Waterside Drive at St. Paul's Boulevard, but it all started in Suffolk. We're told that officers were closing in on a serial larceny suspect when that suspect drove off. He continued into Portsmouth and ended up in downtown Norfolk. Let's get right to 10 on your side's Angela Bohan. She is live across from Norfolk City Hall with more on this investigation. Angela?
Yeah, Julia, the scene is cleared now and the roads are reopened, but certainly a chaotic morning. And as you said, we have a lot more details about what was actually going on today. Take a look at the video. We had a crew, as you mentioned, on the scene, but we also had a video sent in by a viewer as well. Suffolk police tell us they were investigating a serial larcenist on North Main Street. The suspect drove off, and after that, he came upon a crash scene on Portsmouth Boulevard. Now, police tell 10 on your side the man kept going, driving into oncoming traffic and nearly hit a Suffolk police officer. That officer fired his gun and hit the suspect, but he kept going. There was a chase, and the man was actually taken into custody here in Norfolk. It all ended between Norfolk City Hall and Dominion Tower. Quentin McGinnis tells me he was driving in the downtown tunnel eastbound when he witnessed a chase.
I hear a bunch of sirens, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I don't see the little blue car at first. I just see the police lights, and I see everybody start parting in the tunnel, and I didn't even see the little car until he got right up on me, and I hurried up, shot to the left because he almost rear-ended me.
And police say the suspect's injuries are considered to be non-life-threatening. We know charges are pending. Meantime, the officer involved is on administrative leave while the investigation continues.
A political poll is shedding new light on the important issues to Virginians. This morning, the Watson Center at Christopher Newport University released the results of their findings. All new at midday, 10 on your side's Ethan Krause has the highlights. Ethan?
This year's General Assembly gets underway. The Watson Center is once again asking Virginians how they feel about the current state of the Commonwealth, country, and possible amendments to the state constitution. Now, the survey included 807 respondents from across the state and has a margin of error of plus or minus 4.4%. According to the results, 46% of Virginians are optimistic about the direction that the state is headed in, while 10% reported feeling mixed, and 35% say they're not happy with where the state is headed. Meanwhile, these findings flip when looking at the U.S. as a whole, with 65% of Virginians feeling pessimistic about where the country is headed.
So only 28% are saying that the country is headed in the right direction, 6% say mixed, and a large 65% say the wrong direction. Just a year ago, 31% said the right direction. So pretty pessimistic a year ago as well, but even more pessimistic now than a year ago. And a lot of this, I think, is being filtered through how folks are feeling about the Trump presidency.
All new at midday, Norfolk is getting millions of more dollars to help fight flooding and manage storm risks. City officials got a $25 million grant from the Virginia Community Flood Preparedness Fund. Much of that money will help fund the city's plan to build a massive flood wall along the Elizabeth River to protect several neighborhoods. Nearly 1,000 properties are susceptible to flooding. As we've reported, city planners are working with the Army Corps of Engineers to help protect Norfolk from flooding and rising sea levels.
Local Commonwealth's attorneys have joined the Fight Against Federal Overreach Coalition. One of them is Norfolk Commonwealth's attorney Rahim Fadahi. He says when federal agents come to Norfolk, they'll have to contend with this coalition.
I know that if Donald Trump's goons come into Norfolk or come into Newport News, and as I'm about to tell you, into Arlington or in Fairfax or into Portsmouth, they're going to have us to contend with.
Fadahi, along with Portsmouth Commonwealth's attorney Stephanie Morales, are 2 of 4 attorneys from Virginia who say they will be holding federal agents accountable.
Now is the time for state governments and local officials to save us from the federal government.
The creation of this coalition comes in the wake of 2 Americans who were killed by federal agents in Minneapolis. Renee Good, who graduated from Old Dominion University, died in her SUV on January 7th, and Alex Preddy, who was killed on the 24th. Fadahi says if federal agents break state laws in Hampton roads, that's when this coalition goes to work.
We will find the wrongdoing in our communities, and if there are criminal acts being perpetrated by federal actors, we will prosecute them.
You can read more about this coalition and what it means for Hampton roads over on wavy.com. In Norfolk, Michael Rinker, 10 on your side.